Welcome from Exchange to Impact, the podcast exploring how US Embassy Exchange experience turned into ideas and action at home. Today, Mandela Washington Fellow and game strategist Dagmawi Bedilu joins YALI Network member and game developer Yohannes Fikru to discuss gaming, creative industries, and how lessons from the US are shaping Ethiopia's growing game development community. Let's press start.
So would you rather consider yourself as a game maker?
At this point, a game maker. So that transition happened mainly because I've always liked creating, whatever it was. It was like just like technical drawings, like normal sketches, writing, like maybe coordinating people, stuff like that. And I was also interested in like a lot of subjects in school, right? So when me and my friends went to like university, everybody knew what they wanted to be. I had no idea, like genuinely, right? So the first freshman year, I was introduced to like introduction to computing course where like we learned Python, we learned C++. So that felt like the most tactical and fastest way I can create something. That was also partially because like I don't have to deal with people a lot, which is ironic where I am now. And then when I got into second year, I was like, I've always loved games, especially it's like I started to play Call of Duty like in my second year. And then I saw someone make a game, and they called me to like test it because like you play a lot of games, right? So it's like test this, and I tested it, and I thought it was just a random game from the internet. And yeah, this game is good, but it's like this part kind of sucks. Oh, really? I can fix that. What do you mean you can fix it? I made the game, and it's just like revelation. I can do that, right? And then when I really thought about it, it's like everything I liked doing was inside making a game. It's like like the whatever scientific curiosity you have, like the stories, the engagements, the coding. So it's like that process of creation was like satisfying in and of itself. But then it becomes better when you give it to someone and you see someone play it. So that's like partially what I'm going through right now, where like we released our public beta, and since you're so close to it, you're just like you like it, but you don't like it that much because you see all the problems with it. And then we release it to the community, and the community is like, they do stuff you do not expect. But they also like it, but they're like very impressed with these features and like this has this bug, and we have like 20 something daily active players. Finding out why they still come back to the game was really fascinating.
You know what's more fun? What's cooler than like making games? Like, making the studios that make games, and I think that's when everything kind of shifted. And that pattern, I think we're seeing it not only in the village, because of Costa Rica. We're seeing a lot of saturation in the global market, and that's where. And I remember like during my Mandela internship at Austin, there is I don't know if you know, South by Southwest. It's a very big institution, and we had the privilege to go and visit. And they had like every studio founders there for a panel discussion, and it's kind of inspiring to hear.
I got more immersed into game development like through the game jams, right? I was like, I did pursue it professionally. Like back then, I didn't think of pursuing it professionally because it's cool, but who's gonna hire a game developer, right? And then it's like I managed to land like a client, like a freelance client on Upwork, and then like locally. And okay, it's like I can invest more time on this. And eventually I joined an American company that has outsourcing work with Ethiopian developers. And that was actually a very humbling experience because especially when you're a software developer, like any kind of developer, and if you've spent a good amount of time like honing your skills, there's also the sense of just, I can learn anything. It's like it's probably not going to be that difficult, right? So it's like that you feel like you know quite a bit, and then I joined like the actual professional industry, especially in game development, especially for an American client by American standards, and I'm like, I don't know anything. It's like I have to learn. I remember like the first 6 months being like just trying to catch up because there was like so much to learn. But like I worked there for like a year and a half, 2 years, but being exposed to that American ecosystem, like then that American standard really elevated like whatever I did after that. And then me coming back into it and trying to build a studio, um a lot of the experience I got from like working in that industry for like the American client, especially because I was a junior developer first, and then I went as high as team lead. So I saw both sides of working on the ground level and then trying to organize it.
I think one thing I liked about when you were discussing, I think you mentioned two things. My background is engineering, like yes. And when you're an engineer, like the biggest problem you go to is you have a hard time like seeing people. You're a problem fixer. You're always fixing problems. So when you make a game, you're more fascinated by the code you're writing than who is playing on the other side. And I think this awakening moment came like after 10 years into corporate, which I decided to leave. And there are two sides to the story. I remember 10 years ago when we entered into the gaming scene and wanted to create a gaming ecosystem in Ethiopia. What we did is we kind of created a map, an ecosystem, called an ecosystem map. So, and the first thing we did, we bought the American game industry map and just put it there, and we saw okay, there are this amount of studios, and there are this amount of publishers, there are this amount of IGN, GDC, these facilitators that are the game making companies, and you have the consumer segment. You can't divide it. You have the killer types. You have the achiever types. You have the socialiters. So you have the explorers. You can do. And then we overlaid the Ethiopian gaming ecosystem, and it was fun. We put it on that map, and the funny thing that happened was there was 3 studios. It was not so a studio. It was Chowatawaki, and it was Game Electro. So I think it was a studio from. So it was not even an Ethiopian studio.
Okay.
And European companies start initiates I don't think they exist anymore. And the 3 studios, there is no enabler, meaning there is no publishers, there are no associations, there is no one. I told you, we saw in the government policy that said we support tech companies, and in a bracket this except gaming companies.
Yeah.
And that was the state we were in 10 years ago. And they never knew how much you can make from games after 10 years. We're sitting now with we're still way behind the gaming ecosystem. That's why the connections we made, you were talking about the game jams. I remember the first game jam, there were 5 people. Now we have 200, 300 people registering, and we can only take 50. You just launched the Game Thinking Academy, we're teaching people how to make games. My mentor Chen, during my Mandela Fellowship, he is a very popular, he actually wrote a book. I think it's Tone Soup or something. I advise anyone to check it out. So he argues the corporate world is too much corporate, too much boring. Most of the thing, the communication is still verbal, or in the age of AI, is still paper-based or written down. You still newcomers to a company, to a corporate organization, they need to be trained, lecture, facilitator standing, and we can't completely transform this with games. So for a project even for the exchange programs, the project we proposed was to completely gamify the project management. Now there is a very popular project certification called PMP, project management. And if you've seen it's all the content online, just someone taking you through exams of project management. But imagine you play a game, in the game you manage projects. Now that would just
look like a skill tree as you've learned.
Yeah, so you could just play games. Now that's where the vision going. That's what we see in the future. Just play a game and just get certified, because they give you the safe platform you want. You can be anywhere you want, and do anything, and make risks, take chances, but you don't have to die. You can respawn always.
Yeah, and I'm sure it also might bring something that's called the Tetris effect into whereas Like for those who don't know, like the Tetris effect is like everybody knows Tetris, right? So as you're playing Tetris, it's about fitting objects together to make it whole. And if you play it enough, you walk into a room and you see all the like the sofa and the TV as Tetris pieces, and you try to fit them together. I find myself sometimes the character I play in Apex Legends has an ability to like leap 50 meters forward and upward. So I'm on the ground floor. I'm looking at the fourth floor, and there's a voice in my head that's like, I can make that. It's like I can't, but this is like the urge, right? So imagine transitioning tats into like the actual education, right? Where if the game is actually well made and it's like you simulate that very well. When that kind of situation happens, your brain will automatically think like, I've seen this before. It's like I know how to handle this, right? So it could be like a really powerful way of like actually integrating a lot of stuff that we need to learn for both for work and for personal into our lives.
I think like we haven't used games exhaustively yet. Yeah, I think that even like you are talking about game development, the very niche job. Like you have to understand like how to write codes and work with visual sound, and at the same time like understand the player. Now we haven't exhaustively used it because now, for example, just give you an example, one of the projects we're working on with the empathy is for the celebration of like America's 250 years of independence. How can we tell that narrative to the public? Now, how can we tell the story in a very interactive and human-centered way? And what do people like? So we have suggested around 5 experiences. One of it is like a full-on ARG. ARG is like an alternate reality game. So it's a game you play in with what? It's a pervasive game. So you play it you solve puzzles throughout like through social media. There will be social media outlets. There are websites. You might have to come to such more center or the other American corners to solve a puzzle, and like you kind of interact. So you're no longer a passive audience, just sitting down and listening someone talk, but you actually like get to contribute something.
I mean, I feel like you said most of it, but what I would say for a person that's trying to make them is I think it's also a generational thing I'm seeing where if we know our target audience, like we can really make something that's like customized and really effective for them through a gaming vehicle, even though it's maybe not video games, but it's like maybe on mobile, maybe on web, maybe on like physical board games, card games, right? So I believe over time, as like general literacy and digital literacy rises, we will have a way broader like options of like engaging with the audience, and also like them engaging with us, because that's what the process of making a game is, right? So I'm seeing like very promising future, like in our near future, and the new experimental things we're trying to build. And if we can really streamline the local contextualized method of making games, I think we can empower not just like entertainment studios, but also, as you said, like other government bodies, businesses, and NGOs to like really reach the people, because there were like some CS games that were like made for that. But imagine those on a larger scale with like much larger distribution. I think that's what's coming down the pipeline for us.
So speaking about like, I think what we see, I think like we have as of YALI publishers and Ethiopian Game Association, we have set a target that we call it that Vision Joy 2030. We have like 4 milestones that we want to acquire like in the 4 years. One is like you say, like we want to have like at least 100 studios make 100 games, and that speak like that truly African or Japan. Hopefully, one of those game studios we get to see them in GDC. Yes, I think it's San Francisco.
Yes, San Francisco.
Or like the serious game studios making it to games for their age. The second thing is like we've seen a lot of like there are 3,000 game zones, but there is a taboo behind them. these game zones don't have standards. You don't take your young kids because they only approach a pool table or a PlayStation. It's not for every
Type of game.
Or like, so we want to turn this game zones into a family space. Like it's a bonding space. It's a relationship building space. It's a community engagement space. Another one is like esports. Like now we have a huge diaspora, especially in the States. We have a huge Ethiopian diaspora living there. And in the past now, there's cafe, like this annual festival happening in the US where footballers go over there and play games. But with esports, you don't even have to send them. Or like, so like, you have no limitation when it comes to the physical space. Because like now we're thinking of like creating a huge esports community that brings cultures like in the US and Ethiopia, and also like even the US diaspora. They can say, like, maybe they get to learn about Ethiopian heritage through the interactions. And I think last but not least is an industry vision. We want to build an academy. We want a genre called African game, and it being like the mangas and the animes, it becoming a thing out there in the global scene, making at least one game that can blow up in a bit, like enter into the global ecosystem, maybe get published by EA or something. So these are the vision that we had, and I think, and also like maybe for whoever is seeing this, we'll be very soon launching the Freedom Clinic 250 experience in the American Embassy to celebrate that America's 150 years of independence. And we tell people like to watch out for like this experience because they'll be everywhere. They'll be on the digital spaces. They'll also be in the physical spaces. So to always like to keep the notifications on and like wait for when we announce it and to take part in it. And I think it's going to have a very good experience when it comes to the diplomatic relationship between the two countries. And also, it's when we were making the game, we were actually like, okay, we grew up with the American culture, like, but the amount of information that we have about how much we were influenced by it, it's not written. You feel that, but you can't grab it now. And now people will see how much of that influences and how much of the life we're living is actually part of that. And I think like this is my last remark, and like we always say, let the